Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Blacklist Universe. I am Mike S. Miller, a 33-year comic book industry veteran. I have drawn Injustice. I have drawn Game of Thrones. I've drawn all kinds of stuff from Marvel and DC in that time period. And now I'm here on YouTube drawing for you, for your pleasure and entertainment. And lately I've been hitting up Marvel Rivals. It's been a fun little jaunt down this video game highway. But I did get a few requests from people in the comment section asking me what would I do with DC characters if they were Marvel Rivals characters. I guess DC Rivals characters is how you'd say it. If I were designing DC characters to play in the Marvel Rivals game, or if for some reason they made a DC version of Rivals in that style, how would I attack that? And so I thought I'd go ahead and start with the main man himself of DC, Superman. I am intimately familiar with drawing Superman. I drew Adventures of Superman back in the early 2000s. Obviously, in Injustice, Superman was the main character of the series, and so, yeah, Superman is old hat for me. I was never really a big fan of the Injustice character design for Superman, to be honest with you, because they covered him up in nonsensical armor. And so while I do understand sort of the motif of Marvel Rivals is this mech tech anime manga kind of feel, I didn't want to cover him in armor. It just doesn't really make sense. But I did try to add some armor-ish elements, some mech tech elements. I took his belt and I beefed it up and I gave it sort of that cool mech tech stylization, so it's a little thicker. And then I thought, you know what would feel like Superman, but still be cool and kind of techy, is if I just gave him sort of gauntlets and beefed up his boots a little bit, so I could have the whole idiom, the whole feel of the Marvel Rivals game design. A little cartoonier. I give him a big swooping S-curl, and then I give him, of course, this ridiculously over-exaggerated body. If I draw a very much a more realistic style, so I don't tend to lean into the Joe Madureiras, the John Boy Myers, the basic Marvel Rivals body type, which is just, it's cartoonish. It's cartoonish, which it looks cool. I'm not disparaging it. I love Joe Mad's work. I've been a fan of his since the 90s, but it's not a style that my style lends itself to. So it is kind of a fun sort of departure for me to actually try to delve into the Marvel Rivals style and then sort of adapt it to the DC character lineup. If you want me to do the rest of the DC lineup, or maybe not the rest of it, but if you have suggestions for some other DC characters you want to see my DC Rivals take on, then please do let me know in the comments section below. And then make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it if I do what you request in the comments. Oh, here's something fun. So when I was working at DC, they were, what's the word, fastidious about that stinking Superman logo. They wanted the Superman logo to be on brand, like at all times. Anytime I did any little thing to tweak the Superman logo, they would be on my case. And this is when I'm drawing Superman for DC Comics. And so, but I always wanted to do this sort of a slightly more graphic version of the S. And so this is what I'm doing. So it is sort of more my take on Superman than you're going to get ever from DC Comics, because I'm probably never going to work there again. I've been doing my own stuff. I've been publishing my own comics, LoneStarComic.com. If you do want to check that out, the link is in the description. You could join our Discord also. That's in the description below. I'm in there pretty much every day, so if you want to come in, say hi, join the community in Discord, please do that too. Back to Superman here. I noticed something as I was doing the editing on this video. You know what? I'm not even saying. I noticed something and it was just on the screen for me. And so if you notice it, there's something wrong with this drawing. Oh, I hate it when this happens, because usually, if you're publishing something and you see something that's wrong, you just go back in and you change it. But when you're in the editing stages of a video and you notice you did something wrong on a drawing, you're like, I am not going to start the whole thing over again. Not the whole thing, but you do. You have to go back in and you have to change. Never mind. So instead, It's a little Easter egg hunt. If you can notice the thing that is wrong in this character design, not the design, but the anatomy, frankly, let me know in the comment section. And you can win a Blacklist Universe No Prize if you can pick it out. You'll be my editor. Oh man, I hate it when this happens. So again, going back in, my inking, a lot of people ask me, I get it almost every video, what program are you using? What brush are you using? Okay, so I'm on the iPad. I'm using Procreate, which is like, I don't know, 10 or 20 bucks. Super cheap, really good program for illustration. And I'm using the Gesinki ink brush, which comes stock with Procreate. So you don't have to pay anything else. And you get these fantastic lines that I'm throwing with that stock brush. Again, that's Procreate and the Gesinki ink brush. So please don't ask in the comment section of this particular video. If you notice, I am actually using pretty much the base classic shape of his boots. And then I'm taking that motif and I'm adding it to his gauntlets. And then, of course, I'm using the diamond crest as a design motif. And I'm kind of scattering it around the character rather than just having it on his chest and on his back. It is, you know, design-wise, I like to have a continuity of motif around a character, and so I think I did it well here. And now I'm going back into the coloring process as I always do. I start with one base layer or hue, and then I drop in actually I think I did like a 30% purple layer here in a multiply layer, so you get the darkening, but you don't get the hue of the purple itself. It becomes a cooler darkening shadow, and generally speaking, you want to use cooler darkening shadows unless your character is in like a red or orange room, and then your shadows can have sort of a warmer tint to it. But that's why I'm always basically using this tint, because if you're outside, it's daytime, it's nighttime, whatever. The sky is blue, the sky is purple, the sky, you know, generally speaking, your shadow is going to be a cooler color. And so you do use that for my tones. You know, I'm really kind of glad this whole Marvel Rivals thing has taken off, because it is kind of a great throwback to the time when we had all the base characters. We have Steve Rogers and we have Bruce Banner. We have all the real characters instead of all these replacement characters that they've given us over the past 15 years or so. It's just nice to see a company using the characters that we all know and love. And you know what? Honestly, I think it would be interesting to see DC kind of do the same thing. I know, you know, you have Injustice, which you have a lot of the same characters in their Injustice design, and I'm not bashing Injustice. Obviously, I was the artist for the Injustice comic book series, but they weren't exactly the characters, like the designs for the characters, I was not a fan of. And again, NetherRealm, so I apologize for just outing my dislike of your character designs. But they over-armored everybody, and a lot of it it was not appealing to me as sort of the classic comic book fan, and obviously professional for 33 years now. So it'd be interesting to see something along the lines of a Marvel Rivals for like DC, where it is more or less the primary characters and more just, I think, closer to the original character designs for them. But yeah, in just sort of that fun, you know, in sort of the hero shooter genre, I think Marvel Rivals is just killing it, because people love these hero shooter games. They are a lot of fun, and they want to do it with characters that they are familiar with and they already love. And so, yeah, I think DC should probably get on the ball and do something like that. If you guys want to hire somebody who's familiar with the DC characters to do your character designs for a DC Rivals game, then just hit me up, let me know, and I'm sure we could work something out. Back to the coloring. Yes, I do also, my tertiary layer is a white layer that is, I don't know, 30% opacity, maybe 20% opacity, to give the tint, tone, hue, coloring dynamic. So it's more along the lines of an anime coloring style. I mean, I could just go in and color this whole thing like one of the Marvel Rivals paintings, but oh my gosh, that would take me forever. And believe it or not, this is not my job. This is just something I do for fun and to try to build my channel up so I can reach my fans out there. If you are one of my old Injustice fans, you found me. Subscribe, like the channel, and join the Blacklist Universe Discord so you can be part of our community and know what I've got going on, you know, what's coming up. I haven't stopped creating just because I stopped working for DC. I've been working on my own projects pretty much ever since, actually, to be honest. I was working on my own projects while I was working at DC. And you can check those out at LoneStarComic.com, as I mentioned before. Something funny happened here. I was so kind of, I don't know, I got ahead of myself on the coloring, and I just wanted to get to the editing. And so you'll notice in a second here, I finished the coloring and then I do the backgrounds. And usually I always do the backgrounds very last, but this time I did the backgrounds. And then you'll see had to go back in and add some stuff because, again, I literally did do it this time when I was like, oh man, I forgot to do this important thing. And then I was thinking, gosh, you know what else this could use? And you'll see it in a second here. The Marvel Rivals character designs, they use sort of the Marvel cinematic movie design work on larger, empty areas in the comic books. It would just be a big empty space, right? Like here on Superman, it's a big blue area. But in the Marvel Rivals and in the Marvel other movies and stuff, and they even did it in the DC movies, so it's not like it's unique to them. They took those areas and they put design work in them to sort of just make it visually more interesting. And so I did a similar concept here, kind of going along the shape of the S, and then the serratus anterior muscles sort of like interweaving. I didn't, not the muscles, but kind of that's the motif I was going for, where I was like using serratus. Those are the muscles on the side of your chest underneath your lats, just so you know, in case you're not a doctor or an artist already. And then taking that pattern, weaving it out through his arms, and then ultimately onto his legs, and doing just a slightly darker multiply layer again over that, so that it's still the same color, but it's just a little bit off hue, so it breaks up the pure blue areas. I thought about doing it in the red areas, but then I thought against it. I don't know. What do you think? Should I have done the red area too? It's not a lot. And you'll notice the red area, it kind of does remind you of the Injustice Superman, because that's one thing. I want the shorts, but I don't want just the shorts. I want the shorts coloring to feel like a design on him rather than he's wearing trunks, right? So it's like the trunk area, it breaks up the blue. You have the big yellow belt and everything, and then I have it ride up the sides like in Injustice, but then I had it ride down in the middle. I don't think we did that in Injustice, but I think it gives it a nice shape. I mean, he already looks like a big triangle, right? But I think that kind of carves in his waist even more, so it makes him look more powerful and girthier, and just, I mean, this Superman is just a tank, and I'm pretty sure if you're going to play this character in DC Rivals, it would be a tank character. I don't know. Superman is so OP. That's why they had to give everybody else the superpower pill in Injustice, because otherwise Superman will just mop the floor with everybody. So what's your solution? Give everybody Superman's powers. Yeah. That is my Superman for Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals, but it's DC Rivals. Again, if you have suggestions for who you'd like to see me tackle next, please do drop it in the comments section below, and I will make sure I read and respond to every single comment. Join our Discord. Watch our live streams every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Hope you like this video, and I hope to see you on the next one.